Is WordPress worth it in 2025? Well, it seems that every year someone declares that WordPress is dead. Yet here we are, 2025, and well, it still powers, by some statistics, 35 to over 40% of the public-facing websites on the web. However, with that said, the rise of Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, well, they're gaining ground. They haven't replaced WordPress, but if you look at the trends, WordPress has stagnated. It has maintained the kind of same percentage of usage for a few years now, where these other guys keep going up and up and up. So is WordPress the best choice, or is it time to move on? Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, all these platforms have become insanely powerful, user-friendly tools. For simple sites, they make a lot of sense, and you can relatively easily get a polished experience with minimal hassle and for a small monthly fee. The WordPress market has stagnated, like I said, but these platforms are growing, and so is their feature list, so is their usability, so is their friendliness to use, and the costs, honestly, keep coming down. However, WordPress is still a contender for a lot of audiences. Unlike Squarespace and those other guys, you own the code. Now, years ago, we used to make arguments about open source versus closed source, who really owns the code. And you know what? I don't think today anyone really cares about that. But the power of owning the code is that you can do what you want with it. Whereas in these ecospheres of Squarespace, Wix, Shopify, you get to only do what they want you to do, what they're going to allow you to do, period. There is no customization beyond that point. So owning the code means you get to do what you want with it. That's pretty powerful. It's not just about ownership, it's about flexibility. And if your organization needs that, then WordPress is definitely a contender this year, and I think in the years to come. WordPress has unmatched integrations with relative ease. I mean, first of all, there's the plugin ecosystem that is, what are we pushing, 10, 15 years old on that. So there is a ton of stuff that you can do with the plugins. Organizations that use CRMs or AMSs and those kind of systems, WordPress is built on PHP, and that means that with that language and the server it's on, we can do all kinds of crazy stuff with it in order to make data flow between your CRM, your AMS, and the website. So there's that kind of stuff that you can do with WordPress that you probably cannot do with some of these other solutions that are out there. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't exist, if what you want to do doesn't exist, a developer can usually do it within reason. Now, this is where WordPress still shines in my mind, and I don't think anyone's ever beat it. I just don't. I know there's other platforms out there, Webflow and other systems like that, but I don't think anyone has come close to the ideal platform for a content-driven business. I'm not saying the field isn't open for a competitor. I'm just saying someone hasn't done it to the level that WordPress has done. A well-built WordPress site will allow a very content-active organization to post press releases, news updates, run marketing campaigns, and do it quickly, all without the hassle of involving a developer. Communications departments and marketing departments and sales departments can all do their own things within WordPress with very little technical knowledge. And that's the power. You don't have to wait for a developer to deploy anything. You don't have to wait for, something to go from staging to production, all that kind of stuff. For those departments, it just works. And then there's developer availability. Now, if you go digging into the swamp of the developer forums and so on, you're going to find a lot of PHP hate and a lot of WordPress hate. But you know what? There are an absolute ton of developers out there. So if you need something done, if you need help with your site, throw a rock. You're going to find someone that can work on your website. So that is also a powerful feature of the ecosystem, in that you're not having to hunt for someone who can work within the platform. You're not having to pay for super specialties. PHP, WordPress, and all the related technologies, well, lots of people work in them. And that is a big bonus for organizations looking to manage their website. Now, obviously, I get excited about WordPress because that's what I work in, regardless of whatever the other developers say. I think I'm a real developer, but it's not always the right choice. I've seen it 1,000 times where I'm working on a client side or helping out someone, and you're like, no, this isn't the right platform. Some examples of that are e-commerce businesses. I can't tell you how many WooCommerce applications that I've seen in WordPress that are horrible. And people have thrown plugins for shipping and taxes and all kinds of stuff. And it's just an absolute disaster. They should have gone with Shopify. Think about it. With Shopify, you get to use a multi-million, if not billion-dollar infrastructure for a small monthly fee. It makes total sense. Why would you reinvent the wheel by trying to build your own store? Now, in some cases, it might make sense. Maybe you have a very simple e-commerce need. Maybe you have something that has to be very customized, like we talked about before. But a lot of times, it's just worth it using Shopify or one of these other e-commerce platforms. There's no maintenance, and it just works. If you're expecting Shopify ease out of WooCommerce, well, I got news for you. It's not going to happen. The other group that might not be good candidates to use WordPress are those that are running super simple websites that are basically online brochures that don't have a need for information turnover and updates on a regular basis. Basically, what's going to happen is you're going to have to stand up a WordPress website. Maybe you've hired a developer, a designer, and so on. And then the site just sits there. So when your most complicated integration is a newsletter sign up, let's say, Squarespace or Wix might be the way to go. Again, for dollars per month, you get to use $1 million infrastructure, click and drag interfaces to build a relatively simple site. And if you focus on simplicity, even a non-designer can build a relatively good-looking website rather than spending your weekends and evenings wrestling with plugins and themes or having to hire someone to do this for you. Small budget, super simple, brochureware sites might not want to use WordPress. So the reality today is that WordPress is far from dead. Sorry, I know there's the haters out there, but I got news for you. It's alive and well. But it might not be for everyone. And it's worth evaluating rather than assuming that it's the go-to solution. So I got news for the haters. WordPress is not dead. It just might not be for everyone in 2025. WordPress just simply isn't going anywhere. It remains one of the most flexible and scalable platforms out there. So for any business that's serious about content generation, content turnover, SEO, future growth and scalability, then I think it's a valid platform to explore and consider, and that some of these other hosted platforms you may find inhibiting. And for some of the other WordPress alternatives, you may find technically difficult. WordPress lands right in the middle there, and for a lot of organizations is the absolute perfect fit. So before you choose a platform, think about what your site really needs. Explore your options. And you know what? WordPress might be the right answer, but it might not be.